Post this on quick. All right, let's take a look at a few things. Not a whole lot of block trades coming in. We got Duncan. I think Duncan got didn't they get bought out? Yeah, they got bought out. They pumped up from 89 all the way to 106. Get a block trade at 106 even. You do a little bit of a pump pre-market here. Yeah, so the close on Friday was at around 99 to 100. You're at 106 already, so big momentum coming in on Duncan. Keep an eye on that. AZN getting a block trade as well. I think that's a vaccine company. Yeah, it's AstraZeneca. What are they doing pre-market? A little bit of a pump, nothing too crazy. You do have earnings coming up. I think, what is that? The 4th. That is Thursday, I believe. So you have earnings coming up on Thursday on AstraZeneca. I would be very careful with vaccine companies. Their time has basically come already. The time to trade vaccine companies was back in like June or July. Now they're a little late. I think Moderna has been doing okay. Yeah, not too bad, but still you can see pretty much downtrending now. Somebody in Discord wanted me to take a look at adhere. Let's take a look at adhere. Looks like a bullish pullback. You still have a pretty strong downtrend though. Nice little Harami candle here on Friday. 1 hour bull div, almost a bull div, not really. Kind of putting in a bulldog. Let's see. 4 hour, no pivots. Daily pivot is pretty low. 1 hour, you actually are bouncing off some pivots, so pretty clean bounce here. Take a look. Yeah, so I think this looks decent as long as you hold that pivot. You do have to break this uptrend though, or sorry, this downtrend. If you get above like say 228, it would look a lot better. All right, let's take a look at a few other things here. So ES actually is up 1%. You're pulling back a little bit off the baseline here on the 4 hour. You also hit a 1 hour pivot here as well. But like I told you guys on Friday, as long as you closed above this red line here, this micro pullback, you were slightly bullish. Now we did have bad news. You had the UK lockdowns coming in, which is an extension of the other European lockdowns that caused us to nuke here. But it looks like the market doesn't really care anymore. It seems like the UK lockdowns had no effect on the US markets. So far we're bullish. We don't know until the open, right? We could have an effect on the open, but so far after hours there has been no effect, and it looks pretty good. Any close above 33.33 would be very bullish. Any momentum above 32.50 would still be bullish as well. So I'm not really bearish until 3250 is lost. You lose that, you'll probably go down to 3200, close to 3000 on the lower target as well. But for now, the weekly is putting in a couple buy signals. Historically, these are very strong, and we're holding support. So I wouldn't jump the gun here. I wouldn't be too bearish just yet. Until you lose 3250, this is a bullish accumulation. So basically the same thing on NASDAQ as well. As long as you hold, what is that level? 10,940. As long as you hold that low there, you look okay. Putting in a bullish reversal candle so far. You don't have any momentum coming in on the daily NASDAQ. Let's move on to the 4-hour. 4-hour does have a bottom signal on the Momo. You are putting in a nice little bottom here, but there is no bull div or no complete confirmation just yet. 1 hour, you are pulling back. This is a bullish pullback though, as long as you hold the trend. 15-minute flipping bearish a little bit here. Are you below this trend? Let's see. Okay, so you're actually holding this trend on the 15 minutes, so that looks pretty good. Keep an eye on that. You do have a bullish pullback into your trend line. So if you break this on the open, this should be pretty bullish. Keep an eye on that pivot around 11,168. Break that, should be pretty good. You can see that level that we had marked lines up almost perfectly with that pivot on the 15-minute. So watch that area around 281. Yeah, you break this little trend here. It looks pretty good. Keep an eye on that. Let's delete those. This is my daily chart. Don't want to have those on the daily. Go ahead and draw these over here. And we'll keep an eye on that. Could be a volatile day. Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a volatile week. We have elections coming up tomorrow. If you guys are not in the U.S., the U.S. does have presidential elections tomorrow, which are typically very volatile. So keep an eye on that. This is going to be a little weird time because they're saying that there's a high chance that we don't know the official winner until the end of the week, or at least a couple days after the election day, which is not typical. Typical is when we know the winner by the same day. Typically around midnight, we know who wins. But this time around, they're saying that it could take a little while, so it's going to be a weird week for sure. I wouldn't be jumping into too many plays just yet. I'm in some SPY exposure, bullish exposure. I have a VIX hedge, bearish exposure. What else? I got a few other things that are bullish exposure as well. So I've got a few plays, but overall my account is pretty delta neutral. Delta neutral, theta positive is a good way to go right now. And that's pretty much what we're doing. Let's take a look at the Ichimoku here. So 15-minute NASDAQ is a bullish pullback. 3-hour NASDAQ, still bearish pullback. Let's see, the 12-hour. 12-hour is actually 100% bearish, so we're still bearish on the long term. Let's take a look at ES. Pretty much going to be the same thing. 12-hour, 100% bearish. 3-hour bullish pullback. 15-minute bullish pullback. Or sorry, 3-hour was a bearish pullback, excuse me. Bearish pullback. And then 15-minute is a bullish pullback. So short term, definitely trying to flip bullish here. A couple other things to watch today. We had Neo breaking out. I told you guys that 35 was the overall target on Neo. And it looks like it's going to get 35. So keep an eye on that. You're already at 34 pre-market. 35 is your extended target. Let's go to the extended markets here. Yeah, so you're almost there already. You'll probably get 35 on the opening session. So keep an eye on Neo. few other things. Let's see. Microsoft, you're still inside that range. If you fail downward, watch 197. But overall, just a range, so it's going to go between 197 and 213. 213 would be your upper target. You do have a little bit of a resistance around 204, which you currently are sitting at. You need a break around 210 to get above the cloud. Apple, you have a gap below you that it looks like it's trying to fill, but if you break this little downtrend here on the daily, it could go bullish. 1 hour would have to get above like 112 to look pretty good. 112 is at a pivot, 50 moving average cloud, a lot of resistance, so watch that. Facebook breaking bearishly from a triangle here. You do have a gap below you, but keep an eye on this trend. If you reclaim the trend, could be pretty bullish into 280. 280 also lines up with the 1 hour cloud as well. You are currently hitting a 50-minute pivot. You do have a 50-minute bull div playing out though, so keep an eye on that. Netflix, nasty sell-off on the end of the day on Netflix. We had a pump on the news that they were raising the prices of their most popular plan. Didn't last long though. Basically nuked on, actually that was on Friday they nuked. So Thursday they pumped, Friday they nuked. So nasty sell-off on Friday. It would need to get above 500 to look bullish. Anything below 500 is bearish. Amazon, you are pulling back to support. You do have a small support around 29.50. It looks like you are bouncing a little early around 3,000. Any bounce above 29.50 could be a bullish pullback, but you're not really bullish until you get above like 3,200. So just know that any bounces could be sold off pretty quickly. Tesla, I told you guys for weeks now that it looked like it wanted to get 375. You are basically about to hit 375. You're almost there. You bottomed out at 379. So you might get 375 on the opening session, but with the pump in Neo, that might help Tesla out a little bit. So keep an eye on that. But 375 was the overall target, and you pretty much hit it. So see if we can find support down here. If not, lower target around 358. Dixie is continuing to climb, so keep an eye on Dixie. Dixie climbing is bad for metals, so if you guys are in silver and gold, I would keep an eye on that. You are bouncing slightly on silver and gold, but with Dixie climbing, the bounces are probably not going to be too long-lived. Let's take a look at Bitcoin while we have the time. So Bitcoin, I told you guys in our summary on markets, if you guys watched that 13.9, 13.8 was the overall target. You had a weekly pivot there, and you had a monthly, you had a monthly pivot in a 2019 high. So a very important level. That was your overall target. You hit your overall target almost to the dollar. You went through it a little bit, and now we're filling downward. So if you guys are Bitcoin traders, anything below 13.9 could be sold off. So until you reclaim this 13.9 level, this could pull back pretty heavily. So keep an eye on that. You do have a support around 12.9, also around like 12.7. But once you get back down to this level here, there is an inefficiency. So if I grabbed a volume profile here, you would see a gap right here, which I can show you. Let me move that. I messed it up. One candle too early. Let's put that over. Yeah, there's a gap there. So candles like this create inefficiencies. They typically have low liquidity. They are grabbing higher or lower liquidity for the most part. So this one would have a liquidity inefficiency is the best way to say it. So if price wants to come down and fill that gap, you would be looking at somewhere around 12.5 as a support or a lower target. You do have a POC around 13,000, so keep an eye on that as a support. But as I said, anything below 13.9 could be sold off. Keep an eye on that. The same thing can be said about ES. If we use that same technique, this will have an inefficiency here. So if we zoom in, I could probably go down to a lower time frame and make this better. You see how there's not a lot of volume right here? So if price wants to climb, you're going to be filling in this little inefficiency right around that pivot, around 1355. Sorry, 3355. So that would be your target, right? Basically where the pivot is the perfect target. You do have a value area high right around where you're being tested, and a value area low right around that lower support. Keep an eye on those levels. That is a 4-hour pivot, 4-hour double pivot actually on ES. Let's take a look at the scanner, see if I see anything. No big names really. We have TLT pumping, which is typically not good for financials. TLT is the 20-year bond. CVS climbing pre-market. Let's see else. No block trades coming in except for AstraZeneca. Got a lot of bullish block trades on AstraZeneca and then Dunkin' Coffee. Scanners are flying here pre-market. Let me show you guys the scanners. This is our pre-market high scanner. You can see on the top left. A lot of pre-market highs being made right now. No big name companies though. I typically only look for big name companies. The scanner will not show anything below 5 billion market cap, so none of these are really small companies. They're just not very liquid companies. If you take a look at the call scanner from Friday, we had a couple of travel companies were moving. You had CCL. You also had a lot of block trades on American Airlines. So it seems like travel companies are starting to pick up again. I did read that they're trying to lift the ban on cruises, so cruises are getting a little bit of volume. So keep an eye on cruises. CCL is the number one on the call scanner from Friday. About 250,000 calls. Only about a quarter of those would be puts. So pretty good volume on that. What's UAA? What is that? Under Armour? Yeah, Under Armour had about 60,000. ABBV, I don't know what that is exactly. 37,000 calls. Team 27. So these are all kind of no-name companies. The only big company that I would keep an eye on is Carnival. Let's go back to my charts here. Let's take a look at Carnival. Doesn't look too bad. Daily has a very nice engulfing candle. You did fill that local gap. You are still in a very bearish downtrend. So you're definitely not out of the downtrend yet. You would probably want to see a break above, what is that, $15? Break above 15 would be pretty bullish. You are trying to reclaim the range low, kind of around 1375. But until you reclaim that, you're not going to really see any buyers step in. I did make a little index here for the Carnival, or sorry, the cruise and like travel sector. You have Boeing Airlines, Wynn Hotels, and CCL Cruises. This would be like the average of those three big companies, and you can see that you are very much downtrending. So they're definitely not flipping bullish just yet. If we look at a linear regression from the high, very, very strong downtrend. So until you break above like 91 on this index, you're not going to look very bullish. Now, obviously, if you want to trade from here to the top, it's a pretty big move. But just know that any bounce from here to that 91, this could be sold off pretty easily. So it's a bearish pullback is what you would say, kind of like a bear flag. You are putting in a double bottom, so you could start to climb pretty soon, but I like it too good. VIX was up 3% on Friday, but we are selling off so far on pre-market with the markets climbing. Currently at 25.41, so it looks like it's going to be a pretty bullish day, but you do have a support coming in on VIX, so if VIX can't break 25, you could easily flip bearish today. You do have a sell-off coming in right before the bell rings, too. Let's take a look at the pre-market profile here. So the pre-market profile is a little worrying because we do have a massive gap in between us. So if we open up and it doesn't immediately start to climb, you're probably going to fall down towards like 32.78, which would give you a little bit of a gap fill. And then we have a massive support right around 32.71, which also lines up with a couple of pivots. So if this does fall, I wouldn't be too bearish just yet because you have a ton of support. You can see how many pivots are down here. You've got a ton of pivots around that 32.70. So that'd be around 327 on SPY. So as long as that holds, I think the bulls will step in. And that's not a big sell-off. I think it's like 0.25%. Yeah, about 0.5%, 0.25%. Not too bad. So NASDAQ, pretty much the same thing on NASDAQ. A little bit of a gap fill below us, and then you have a lot of support below that. So I wouldn't be too bearish until you drop like probably you find sellers below 0.5%, so 0.75. That'd be pretty bearish. Besides that, though, it doesn't look too bad. The Russell profile is very bullish here. This looks like it wants to break this downtrend and continue higher. Yeah, same thing with Dow Jones. You have a big gap below you, but it looks pretty bullish. So if you start to climb on the opening session, this thing could really run. The first hour of the day is really going to tell us what we want to do. If you start to pull back, you'll probably fill that gap. If you don't pull back and you head higher, it's probably going to be a strong breakout because these profiles look pretty bullish, especially on Russell. And they say that Russell leads, so I'd keep an eye on that. Russell is definitely the most bullish profile. You can see that big node above us. Pretty bullish. That is all I got for you guys. We do have the bell about to ring in 2 minutes. I'm going to head over to Discord. November just started, so if you guys didn't see our announcement, we do have a 30% off sale for the entire month of November. We're doing a Black Friday sale the entire month for Discord. If you use code Black Friday, you can get a 30% off the monthly or the quarterly for our Discord. So check that out if you guys are interested. I'm going to head into the Discord now for our live trading session, and I'll see you guys back for the Power Hour stream around 3 p.m. Eastern. You guys have a good day. Stay safe. See you guys later.